It gives me tremendous honor to call upon the Secretary of the Treasury of the United States of America, the indefatigable and always unflappable Secretary of the Treasury, Stephen Mnuchin.
Okay, well, I'm going to see if I can maneuver this okay here. Good evening. It is my distinct honor to be here to commemorate the signing of the historic Abraham Accords. This landmark agreement between the United Arab Emirates and Israel and the Kingdom of Bahrain marks the first step in over 25 years towards a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous Middle East. I am honored to represent President Trump at this momentous occasion. The peace treaties are named the Abraham Accords for the important place that Abraham played in the history of Judaism, Christianity, and the Islam religions. Abraham flourished early 2nd millennium BC, the first of the patriarchs and a figure revered by the three great monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. According to the biblical book of Genesis, Abraham left Ur in the Mesopotamia because God called him to find a new nation. In Judaism, the promised offspring is understood to be the Jewish people descended from Abraham's son Isaac, born of his wife Sarah. Similarly, in Christianity, the genealogy of Jesus is traced to Isaac and Abraham's near sacrifice of Isaac, as seen in foreshadowing of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. In Islam, it is Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn son, born of Hagar, who is viewed as the fulfillment of God's promise, and Prophet Muhammad is his descendant. The fact that we are all here together in Abu Dhabi demonstrates the importance of this occasion. I'd like to take our thanks to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed, His Highness Sheikh Hamad bin Zayed, Sheikh Saud bin Sakr, Minister Al-Tayer, Minister Al-Jaber, His Excellency Claudun Al-Mubarak, Chairman Mohammed Khalifa Al-Mubarak, Minister Al-Kabi, and all of the Emiratis for their gracious hospitality. Before I speak further about the importance of this agreement, I'd like to acknowledge everyone who helped make this historic moment a reality. First, I'd like to thank Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for taking this extraordinary step for the betterment of their nations, the region, and the world. Because of their courageous leadership, I firmly believe more Middle Eastern nations will follow the lead and sign on to this agreement, as Bahrain has already done and other countries have expressed their interest. Second, I'd like to thank President Trump for his bold leadership for making the strategic decision to focus on what brings the nations together as opposed to, historically, what has driven them apart. Also from the United States, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Senior Advisor to the President Jared Kushner, and National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, who have all played crucial roles in achieving this agreement. I'd also like to thank the members of the U.S. delegation here with us tonight, Ambassador Ricolta, Avi Berkowitz, Adam Bowler, Robert Greenway, and Major General Correa. Advancing peace in the Middle East is something that many world leaders have talked about, but few have taken the action to produce meaningful results. The first step towards peace in the region in September 1978 was the signing of the Camp David Accords, signed by Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat. This was followed by the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty, signed in 1979. The treaty made important strides to enhance the security of both nations, by ending decades of war, demilitarizing the Sinai Peninsula, and allowing Israel's ships to pass freely through the Suez Canal. Among steps to normalize relations, it was historically important. It made Egypt the first Arab nation to officially recognize the State of Israel. This treaty was made in part to President Carter's leadership following his election. He reinvigorated the peace process through 14 months of diplomatic negotiations, which culminated in 12 days of secret meetings at Camp David. We would not reach another milestone towards peace for another 15 years with the signing of the Israel-Jordan Peace Treaty in 1994. That treaty began with the signing of the Washington Declaration in D.C. and was presided over by President Clinton. The declaration ended a long and tragic war. In his speech marking the historic occasion, President Clinton acknowledged the courage of the Jordanian leader, King Hussein, whose grandfather had been assassinated decades earlier for trying to reach the very peace agreement with Israel. Despite knowing the risks, they put aside the differences and compromised to reach an agreement to enhance peace and security throughout the nation. The Israel-Jordan Peace Treaty settled relations between two countries, adjusted water and land disputes, border crossing, passports, and other important matters. The Abraham Accords signed by UAE and Israel built and improved upon the agreement by transforming regional security environment as well as driving economic prosperity for all the nations involved. With no movement towards peace in more than 25 years, President Trump recognized a new approach was necessary in action and decided to focus on negotiations on the parties' mutual desire to create opportunity, inspire innovation, and increase prosperity for their people. This focus on economic relations created a historic breakthrough that will reshape the Middle East for decades to come. Recognizing the strategic opportunity for change and improvement, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and Prime Minister Netanyahu made the bold and courageous decision to focus on their shared interest and choose a better future for their citizens. With the signing of the accords, the UAE and Israel have started a new chapter in their nation's history. They have committed to opening embassies and appointing ambassadors, which significantly help further their strategic relationship by increasing dialogue and cooperation. They have also begun meeting to establish bilateral agreements on investment, tourism, telecommunications, technology, energy, healthcare, and other important areas. While much of this written on the diplomatic and geopolitical importance of the United Arab Emirates in signing with Israel, I'd like to focus on what is conceivably more important for the people of Israel and the Gulf, the economic opportunities and the security improvements that can be created from these new partnerships. The Abraham Accords establishes direct economic ties of two of Middle East's most thriving and advanced economies. These create a tremendous foundation for economic growth, and now is our job to turn the Accords' vision for growth and opportunity into innovation and prosperity. Israel and UAE each have close and similar populations of 9 to 10 million people in similar size economies, approximately 400 billion GDP. Yet the constructs of the economies are different, and they are unleashed growth faster together with shared investment and trade and commercial bonding. Israel, with their world-class technology and innovation, can help the Emirati counterparts diversify their economy, better manage secure water resources, and launch innovative new IT platforms. Emirati experience in ports and logistics, energy, and world-class tourism can likewise bring new growth opportunities to Israel. Israel and UAE have also financial ability and expertise to take advantage of opportunities elsewhere in the world. They will demonstrate not only the value of this partnership, but also the values that UAE and Israel share. While many chose to focus on the existing differences and challenges, Emirati and Israel citizens share many interests, and your business and people, now primed to join forces to create more wealth, solve more problems, develop next-generation innovations, and benefit both of your countries and the world. An immediate example of this was the decision to cooperate on the treatment and development of vaccine for coronavirus, which has the potential to save millions of lives through the region. I am confident with additional areas of cooperation and partnership will be identified, and the U.S. is eager to work with you both. With greater economic prosperity comes stronger security. Along with the United States, Israel and UAE share a similar outlook regarding the threats and opportunities in the region, as well as a shared commitment to promoting stability through diplomatic engagement, increased economic integration, and closer security coordination. Today's agreement will lead to better lives for the people of UAE, Israel, and the region. Together, the UAE and Israel will stand better prepared to confront the malign threats from the Iranian regime, their proxies, and other extremist groups. The United States has long supported Israel and UAE and their defense in the region, and with this agreement, we can all stand united against Iran's regime's bad influence. Emirati and Israelis can deploy technology and expertise to stop bad actors intent on stealing secrets, funding terrorist attacks, and attacking infrastructure and systems that are critical to health of our economies. The historic partnership will make the Gulf safer. On this foundation, Emiratis and Israelis will both prosper, leaving their citizens a better place in the world. The discussion we have today in the coming weeks and months will bear witness to how well we take advantage of this unique and historic opportunity. I encourage you to find common and shared values and to build economic relationships that will shape your generations to come. Other Middle Eastern nations will see extraordinary benefits of the agreement and join you and Bahrain on your journey to a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous future. The Abraham Accords is the first critical step in President Trump's vision for finding a comprehensive stability in the region. In concluding, there is a story in the Bible of Bezalel. He was chosen by Moses to be the chief artisan of the tabernacle, which was considered a very important job, as it was the tent of the congregation. Moses had been instructed about Mount Sinai to build it. Bezalel was chosen by Moses because he was known to be highly gifted workman, showing great skill and originality. He was also known to have both wisdom, chachma, and heart, lev. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and Prime Minister Netanyahu, through their bold and courageous leadership, have shown wisdom and heart. Thank you for this tremendous opportunity to be part of this historic occasion. It's a pleasure to be with you all tonight. Thank you.